Hey folks, I come to you from a rather unique location for the online classes. I'm actually sitting in what I call my study, which is part of the overall museum. In fact, the desk that I'm sitting at, Charlie Blackwell took it and from the school. It was my desk for 32, 33 years and turned it into my writing desk, so to speak. But everything in this study it goes through my entire history, skulls from grandfather, different other things that we've made. But anyway, the reason I'm here is that I want to kind of talk about some of the classes that are coming up, because you can only do so much in the written word to describe what these classes entail. And I want to start out with the Scout Raiding and Warfare. That's an important one to me because it fills a niche in the Scout development that doesn't exist actually. We go from the Scout class, which goes through, yes, basic raiding, warfare, camouflage, team logistics, counter tracking, stuff like that. And then it jumps to the Advanced Scout, which takes those skills further. But there stands a need, and it was much of my development when I was growing up, the whole idea of the Scout Raid. And if on a scale of, on a percentage scale, the Scout class probably covers maybe 15 to 20% of what Scout Raiding and Warfare is all about. And this year, as you see, we don't have a basic Scout class. That's because for the first time in Tracker history, I'm going to put out this class on Scout Raiding and Warfare. Is it going to be run again? I doubt it, because next year we're slated to run another Scout. But this gets into the finest detail of raiding, communication, invisibility, and all the things you learned in the Scout class taken to the nth degree. We're going to get a little bit more intense in the raiding scenario. Certainly the same thing will be there with the Shadow Scouts and, of course, any people that blunder into our crosshairs, so to speak. But I've got a couple of other things that are rather intense and it planned so that it really pushes your limits. And the whole structure of this class is going to be unique and very different, where at times I'm going to meet you during a raid and point out some things that you did right and what you did wrong. We're going to get into real situations that duplicate what happened to Apache Scouts in their raiding and see how you would get out of it as compared to how they got out of it. We're going to get into a whole mess of other things like sound analysis, the Wolverine fighting, of course, the warfare, but a lot more dealing with very unique weapons and weaponry, and of course a lot of new traps. And a lot of the traps that I'm going to be teaching are ones that are set while you're on the run, where time is limited, you're being pursued, and you want to slow the pursuer down. Where other traps take some time, they're more like camp guards, so to speak. These are more high speed. But it's going to be an intense time. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to bring elements that have been missing in the basic Scout class for quite a few years now, and I want to bring them back into the whole format of the class to up that level of excitement and intensity. The other class that I want to stress is actually a takeoff from the old search and forensic investigation class. And granted, that class is very intense in and of itself. But again, on a scale of 100%, that original class might give you about 10 to 12% of what that could be taught. And in the fugitive missing person and in forensic investigations, it's a whole different arena. Not only do I want to advance the forensic investigation, but I want to show you how to do this at a high rate of speed, where you might be in pursuit of an individual and you have to recon some evidence left behind. And there's a way to go about that which does not take a lot of time. I want to deal with the mind of the fugitive, where the dangers lie, how to apprehend them, where they're likely to hide, their actions, their reactions, the series of checks and balances they go through in their mind when they are being pursued that you can use against them. So this is a totally different class than the original search and forensic investigation class, because here we're dealing with a fugitive, yes, certainly a missing person, but it's going to be more hands-on, realistic search, rescue, that kind of thing, where we are going to create real-life scenarios, tracking cases from my life, where a child has been abducted, or a child has become lost, or a fugitive is on the run, or a fugitive with sniper capabilities. All of that is going to come into play, and it's done at such an intense, realistic level that you'll actually get caught up in the class. So it becomes very real to you, not beyond that which would just be the normal game. And there's a lot that I want to try to stress. I've invited several of my friends that are police officers to that class so that they can learn the strategies and the how-tos of it all. And again, I don't think I'll be running this one again anytime soon anyway. We'll go back to the original search and forensic investigation type of a format. You know, whenever I put up a class that is skills-oriented, I don't know what it does, but we get a certain core group of people to take that class. And other people, you know, I don't know why, but they look at it like, oh my God, we're going to be working our butts off. It's going to be the advanced standard class again. I can't work that fast. Or they might be intimidated by it. Basically, that is not what this skills class is all about. This is dealing with, and not making all this stuff, but knowing how to make it, is stuff that has been forgotten, and not only generally by the working public today, but also many of the ancients. These skills have fallen by the wayside hundreds of years ago and have been nearly forgotten, and yet grandfather stressed them so much so. And the list is endless. I've got a long list of things I want to try to get across. Some of them you'll just listen to, you'll see something demonstrated, we might make one of them, or have the groups make one of these things. Other ones will have you make. But look, figure it this way. Combs, brushes, toothbrushes, toothpaste, soaps, various water baskets, different kind of pottery that's used for measuring and storage, where some of the pots you want to be able to breathe to the air, others you want to be able to completely closed anaerobic environment. Different kinds of bows, the way of twisting wood, many different kinds of designs of arrowheads, both bone and stone, and a little bit of antler thrown in. An array of fish hooks and fishing techniques, spears, arrows, fish bows, but different than you would learn in the advanced standard class. I want to cover those skills that I never get a chance to cover, but I'm trying to preserve them for future generations. Just in baskets alone, the various weaves that I want to show you, I don't think you can find them anyplace, maybe in the dusty archives of the Smithsonian. But I want you to learn how it's done, how to get your hands in on it and make that weave that'll make that water basket. I've got Karen and Frank slated to be there as helping me out with that class. And we are going to really cover as many things as we possibly can. But yet, I want to focus on you making several very critical skills, but the rest we're going to demonstrate to you or show you or talk about it so you have a very firm concept of how to build it when you have time on your own. I hope to see you there because it's part of the whole lineage of preservation of these ancient skills. You know, coming up online is a two-part class on mixing and compounding medicinal plants. And like I say with my people that are just starting to track for the first time, you might not be very interested in the mixing and compounding of medicinal plants, but by the time I'm done with you, you're going to be obsessed because this is a kind of a fun class and I can actually do it online format, which is neat. You see, grandfather's meticulous attention to detail of exact mixtures and compounds and tinctures and everything else, he had his own set of pottery that had etches in it where he knew how much of something he was mixing. He had wooden bowls and things like that, bone, and so many other devices that he would use for measuring. But it's not just the measuring and the tools that are used for the creation of these medicinal plants, but it's the actual compounding, the mixing, the percentages, what it treats, how it treats it. And what I'm doing is making sure that the plants that I present can be found any place in the United States, most of the time throughout Europe and Canada. And you'll find that some of the mixtures are rather complicated, but as an end result, the healing qualities are astounding. Like one of the things I'm going to do is take time discussing the various types of natural insecticides and lotions and oils that will resist ticks and fleas and chiggers and whatever else one wants to bite you out there. So this is kind of the backstory of the normal edible medicinal plants that you see in books, courses run throughout the United States, you know, on it. Identification of the plants. This gets down to the ancient and actually the alchemy of the whole thing, the actual mixing and this array of devices and grinders and different other things that you've never heard of before, many of you. But it's going to be a great class that way, and it's coming up rather soon. But anyway, I just wanted to stress these few classes this round, and not too long from now, I'm going to be having an update dealing with certain other things beyond the classes. And I hope to see you in these classes soon. Take care. Shana.